Roaring Kitty's last post had a date in it, January 2nd, 2000, which was also during the dot-com bubble and during the flash crash of the dot-com bubble when the market sold off 10.5% from its all-time high. If we come and we take a look, the S&P 500 has now fell about 10.5% from its all-time high. Now, what's so interesting about this, January 2nd, 2000 actually did mark basically the all-time high of the S&P 500, right? January 3rd began the week. January 2nd would have been a Sunday, and it took the market about 53 to 56 days to bottom out 10% down. Roaring Kitty posted this on January 22nd, 2025, and it was basically about the dog waiting. Now, this is my own tin. This is not found on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. I find this very interesting, right? Was he off? Was Roaring Kitty off in timing a market crash? Okay, because he posted this down here, back here, January 22nd, 2025, and he posted the dog waiting. He will wait as long as it takes. And it actually took a little bit longer. But if we look, was he actually off? The date he posted this and the time frame where the market hit a bottom was actually a 50-day period, indicating the same time frame and the same scope of a sell-off from the 2000 bubble. Where is the market going to go? Does this mean that the crash is over with? Well, this is an interesting tin because normally I would think, and I'll give you more bearish case scenarios in a second. Normally I would think that the market would sell off further based on everything that is happening behind the scenes. Currently, the market is up about 2% on the day, trading at 562.27, and we'll show you the charts in a minute. But you can see after this 10.5% correction, the market rallied almost 17.5% to an all-time high before collapsing even further and basically retesting that low. Now, another bull case scenario is, first of all, historically, when the market has sold off a total of a 10% correction, it in 1 month has rebounded about 8% on average. Okay, this is on average. And what that would mean is by April 14th, that would mean the market would come up and retest 595 on average. Okay, on average. Now, with that being said, what that would also mean is you would also see massive short squeezes across the board. Okay, but if we saw a similar rebound in the S&P 500 like we saw back here after the dot-com bubble sell-off, right? After that 10% correction, you'd see the SPY come melt all the way back up to 632, which is 15% upside from the low, which is also the center line of this parallel channel. Okay, so you have a couple spots of retesting if we decided to melt back up here. Is this going to be the case? On top of the bull case scenario, if this is going to be the case, the emoji timeline could have been a fire sale and then the boom, right? And this is the fire sale. And then he gave us that 2000 reference, the January of 2000. He will wait as long as it takes. And what are we in? We are in a tech bubble. It's a very similar period. Bitcoin also saw a bounce, still under 85K. But as of right now, people are calling for the beginning of a new cycle. Daily bullish divergence still in play with a clear series of higher lows on the RSI. The last time we saw this was at the macro bottom in September, right before a massive rally a month later. Will history repeat itself? On top of that, President Trump has just said that our economy will boom like never before, which obviously he has always had a bullish stance on that. But let's talk about some of the bear case scenarios, because a lot of you stocks we thought the SPY was going to sell off more. Well, that's true. And let's talk about a couple of things that are still warning signs that are still looming. First of all, the data that's been coming out. The CPI data that's coming out, the PPI data that's coming out, the housing market, gold reaching 3,000 today, and basically continuing to squeeze higher, which is a major safe haven, right? If SPY was ready to rebound 10 to 15%, it's not likely that you'd see gold, assets like gold, receiving tons and tons of flow into it instead of the overall market. But then you have other implications with gold, right? Behind the audits, all that other stuff. What else do we see? Well, we also see a weakening dollar. The dollar is still weakening here. The JP 10-year, the Japanese government bonds that we've been taking a look at, you can see how high they are, still above 1.5%, taking a little bit of a relief today. But what we also saw is May of 2024, when they spiked right up here to above 1%. Ultimately, May of 2024, you saw this, right, where Gamestop ran to $65. And he's hinted at correlation with this, and now it's much higher. 0.5% higher. On top of that, there is still tariff uncertainty. Trump says he's not going to bend on the April 2nd tariffs. We don't need anything. Canada only works as a state. We have to do this. I'm sorry, we have to do this. And then Justin Trudeau has just formally stepped down as Prime Minister of Canada. We also just saw the Bank Term Funding Program officially hit $0 today after being drained of $110 billion of liquidity. And then these major hedge funds, these major institutions like Citadel, like Millennium, losing a good chunk of money, seeing warnings of rapid unwindings that heighten systematic risks could be over the horizon. Now let's talk about GameStop. Let's talk about AMC, because GameStop alongside the market is up about 5%. We also saw Bitcoin Magazine just post. GameStop has 4.6 billion in cash and its CEO recently met with Michael Saylor. Will GameStop be the next company to adopt Bitcoin? March 13th, 2025. Why so late? Why are they so late to this, right? They still want that idea floating. Okay, they still want that idea floating. It's just a little bit odd. GameStop is still in a huge cup and handle, and from a technical standpoint, even if this thing ripped, that's what they're gonna say, right? From a huge technical standpoint, GameStop built out a massive cup and handle for a breakout. They also potentially invest in Bitcoin. They also potentially have a huge earnings coming up on March 25th. Okay, they announced their earnings, I believe. It was originally March 26th, but now it's going to be on Tuesday, March 25th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they changed the date there. On top of that, somebody obviously knows something we don't. We have massive, massive dark pool prints coming in on GameStop. 1.26 million at 2209, 1.08 at 2208, 1.08 at 2206, 1.07 at 2203, so on and so on and so on. This is not retail, this is big, big money. And then we also saw massive 6,200 buy block on $50 calls expiring in 21 days, hitting the ask for 121,000. Okay, now these are over 100% out of the money, but clearly somebody is anticipating a large move, probably on earnings. AMC, honestly, due for a squeeze here. It's been a long enough, right? It's been a long enough time running. AMC has been oversold. It's been stagnant. It has no volume. Just like Roaring Kitty said, what are we going to see next after the 420 thump? Volume, right? Hopefully we see that volume come in with AMC and GameStop. And I just want to state on the daily, it doesn't matter how AMC looks. And that's because it's not like GameStop where it's going to melt higher, right? What's going to happen with AMC is it's going to gap. AMC likes to gap. That's what it likes to do. Okay. You saw that back here as well on May 14th. Between May 13th and 14th, the share price went from $2 to almost $12. Finally, the US government says they are going to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. Right? I want to talk about a couple of these blue chips to close out the video, like Nvidia. They did get out of a zone of resistance. Nvidia is above 117 now, and it's trading at 120.68, up 4% alongside the market. A lot of things are getting a bounce here. Palantir above $83. And then Apple did test our support between 208 and 211, like I called out in Discord, and now it is at 213, up 1.6%, building a base at critical support for Apple. If we cracked beneath this, 206.50 would have been the bottom, and then you have potentially a huge loss down to 196.50, so on and so on. Overall, guys, based on what I provided you, do you think we are going to go into a deeper recession, a deeper bear market, or do you think this is the bottom, right? I gave scenarios on both ends. I found some interesting tin with Roaring Kitty, and if we just evaluate it from a technical perspective, here's what we can see. Basically, I didn't prep this for the video at all, but obviously there's mixed emotions on both sides. There's a side where this thing could crash further, but then there's a side where this thing could boom. And well, first things first, I want to just basically state, whatever it is, GameStop is a clear play, in my personal opinion. Nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. So if you don't want to play the SPY, if you don't want to play the market, GameStop is a clear play for me personally. Secondly, right, and that takes a lot of stress off of my shoulders, probably off of your shoulders. Secondly, the SPY is getting a little bit of a bounce today. The SPY is obviously going to need a relief bounce. So this didn't break above any key technical levels. Yes, it did get above 562, which is pretty good, but it's barely above it right now. And it's on very little volume, at least for the first half of the day. Okay. right now things aren't looking insanely over bullish. Okay, a lot of things are getting speculative buying pressure because retail is very scared to time the bottom. They don't want to even get ripped out of their position. So what they're doing is they're buying these stocks like Nvidia, Palantir, Apple, and because it could be a potential bottom on these stocks for another 1 to 2 year bull run, maybe 3 year, right? But this isn't bullish enough for us to say that, for us to just call off some sort of recession or something along the lines of that. Even taking a basic trend line, it hasn't even broken above one level. Okay, it's still, the SPY is still weak, right? 563.50 is the very bare minimum first level where we even start paying any interest to this. But that is what I got for you guys for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching or found value out of the video. Make sure to join my Discord server so we can talk over the weekend. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy the beautiful days. Enjoy the nature, and we will get back at it Monday. Also, I didn't launch trade setups that often in Discord. This, like, towards the end of the week, the second half of the week, I wasn't too active in there. It's just been busy. Especially coming back from Arizona. It's just been a lot. But come Monday, come over the weekend, we're going to get trade setups ready. We're going to get some tin ready. And we're going to be talking in there after this video today as well. So get in the Discord server. It's the top link in the description. I also post my trades as soon as I take them. We talk stocks and crypto. Best vibes, best people. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced trader, this is the place to go, guys. Promise you. Get in the Discord server. We also have tons and tons of great alerts in there. Market news, so it's really a one-stop shop. Analysts, upgrades, updates, dark pool orders, insider trades, option sweeps, high success trade flow. There's really not much more that you really need. And I pay for all that on the back end so that you guys can get in at a decent price. Moomoo, second link in the description. You can get up to 30 free stocks, each valued up to $2,000 per stock. Yes, 30 free stocks. Do it for the month of March. And if you've done it already, send my link to a family member or a friend so they can get free stocks. You can sell them, you can hold them, whatever you want to do. But on top of that, you will also earn 8.1% APY on your uninvested cash. So if somebody's scared of investing, but they leave their money in the bank, this is still going to allow you to earn more. So again, use the Moomoo link, sign up, and make a deposit into your account, and then you will start getting the benefits. Okay, guys? So sign up through my link. You're also getting access to level 2 order book data for free, trading options, going long, going short, viewing other exchanges, customizable earnings calendar, and more stuff on top of that. That is it. I love you all. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.